Welcome to a new episode of the Sensual Underground. Today I have the great honor of welcoming Om Rupani as my guest. Om is
Hello,
a
everyone.
brilliant teacher of BDSM and Tantra. He coaches both men and women, and he is an expert on polarity and man-woman relating. And if somebody asked me who has influenced my thinking the most over the last 5 years, I would say without hesitation that it has been Om Rupani. So I'm so happy that you are here today, Om. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
taking
having
the
me.
time.
Great, wonderful to have these conversations.
Yes. So what I would love to explore with you today is Dom sub archetypes within BDSM, but
Yeah,
also how they apply to all relationships really between man and woman.
yeah,
And I have heard you say, I think it was in an interview with Mark Walsh, that whenever you have couples that come to you for coaching,
yeah,
who complain that the passion has kind of like faded in their relationship,
yeah.
you put them into, or you teach them how to be dom and
I
sub.
do. Yeah, I
Yes.
do.
Could you
The
elaborate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can tell you what I tell my coaching clients on why I do that. There are two main reasons. Two main reasons I use the BDSM wisdom and the BDSM format for all couples, even if they're not kinksters, even if they don't really want to pursue BDSM as such. BDSM has a couple of wisdoms that I think apply to all man women relating. And number one on the top of that list is actually something that is entirely PG rated, non sexual, non kinky, which is the Dom gives the submissive containment, first and foremost. Even if you're not kinky, you may have heard of the term subspace, that the submissive goes into subspace during a scene.
Could you,
Subspace is
so
nothing but a state of deep containment.
sorry to interrupt you, but could you
Yeah,
maybe briefly explain the concept of containment and subspace for the people who haven't heard about it yet?
I would say containment and subspace are related. So, containment would be when you are self contained. Let's start with that. If I am self contained, I am not discombobulated. I am not split up. I am not frazzled. I am not overwhelmed. I'm a little bit zen.
Hmm.
My energies are coalesced. I'm grounded. I am present. I'm not afraid and crazy and distracted and in fear or reaction or trigger. I am centered. My energy is centered. Yeah, that's what being contained looks like. Think of a bulldog. Bulldogs have good containment, self containment. Chihuahuas, not good containment. The shivering dogs. Yeah, you're not going to feel very held if you hold that dog. You're going to get because their energy is turbulent. It's like that Van de Graaff electric generator with sparks flying all over the place. Now, when we start a scene, when the Dom brings the submissive into the scene, the first thing that the Dom does is provide containment. They try to bring the submissive into stillness, into groundedness, into silence within their own system. If you were to think of this in terms of biology, I believe what we are actually doing is moving somebody from their sympathetic nervous system, where they're in fight and flight and action, adrenaline, cortisol, vigilance, and we're calming them down. And they take a breath and they're like, I don't need to hold anything right now. Everything's okay. I don't need to be looking at 8 different things right now. I can just be here with my Dom, with myself. That feeling, that coalescing of energies, that grounding, that coming into yourself, and usually when that transition happens, you will hear a sigh.
Hmm.
That usually is a signal. We have turned off the vigilance of the sympathetic system, fight, flight, freeze, and we are actually in a rest mode. We are calm, we are centered, we feel safe. Now, this word safe is very telling. Women use this word safe all the time. To have sex, I need to feel safe. With a man, I need to feel safe. This word confuses men. Do women think we are dangerous? Do women think we're going to harm them? That they need to feel safe. Most women don't. They're not afraid the men are violent or crazy. When they're talking about safe, they're talking about how they feel in their body, right? And the feeling of safety is the feeling of coming into containment, coming into subspace, coming into the parasympathetic side of your nervous system. And you rest and you're like, oh, there's safety here. I don't need to worry. I don't need to carry everything. Now this is where every dom sub dynamic and scene starts, in my opinion. You don't start a scene by swinging floggers and doing other things. You start by containment, a BDSM scene. And this same containment, I believe, is needed far and wide between every man and every woman couple. That's my proposition. Women badly need containment, and men, if they are embodied, should have a surplus of containment they can offer their woman. And that's a really good start of the man-woman contract. So if a couple comes to me and the man is really good at even containing himself, and the woman is entirely frazzled and stressed and doesn't feel held, all these words really, once you reinterpret them through containment, it'll make complete sense why women use these words. Like, what do you women mean they don't feel held? It's usually because if you're contained and you hold somebody, you transfer containment by osmosis. You bring them into your frequency. And then they really feel held by you, held in your energy, held in your groundedness, right? So this is a very parallel. So, and the best way I know of teaching people containment is simply to put them in their dom sub archetypes. It's easier to teach them that way. It's hard to teach the modern man how to contain the modern woman, but it's very easy to teach a dom how to contain their sub. Because the woman also needs to be receptive to the containment. She needs to submit to it to some degree. She needs to receive it. If she pushes it back, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the start point, and that's only the containment part. The second part is that Eros really doesn't live in the husband-wife archetype. I really work with archetypes, and I believe we have multiple archetypes. Things like husband, father, brother, familial archetypes, husband, whatever you do for work, teacher, entrepreneur, these are all archetypes, and each of us has a gallery of these archetypes. And different archetype pairs function elegantly for the function that they perform. And archetypes usually do come in pair. There's a parent, there's a child. There's a teacher, there's a student. There's a husband, there's a wife. There's a dom, there's a sub. They go together, right? And each archetype pair has its function. The teacher and student archetype has a function, which is the teacher wants to dispense their mastery and the student wants to absorb it. That's their contract. I will tell you what to do, you will follow me, you will trust me. I will instruct you, you will absorb my instruction. And with that, they both win. The student gets the teaching and the teacher gets to teach and hopefully make a living. Husband and wife are obviously a fundamental archetype of human relating. They are the archetype of partnership. They are the archetype of domesticity. They are the archetype of raising children, right? Husband and wife before mother, father. They go in sequence. So they have a lot of functions. My proposition is great Eros actually doesn't live between husband and wife. Eros has never been a priority of the husband-wife relationship.
Yeah, and I think we all know this, right? Like we know it if we are really honest.
Yeah, people can at least try it out. That husband and wives, in my opinion, are not supposed to be hot for each other for 30 years. Husband and wives actually are supposed to have exactly the sex life that most frustrated couples have today, which is be hot for each other, create kids, and then just work.
Yeah.
Raise the kids, raise the legacy, keep your children alive, keep their noses clean, keep their asses clean, get them to soccer practice, turn them into adults. That's what husband and wives and mothers and fathers do. They don't have amazing sex every single day. Erotic expression is not a big agenda either in the mother-father partnership or the husband-wife partnership. It really isn't. But today, then Esther Perel is brilliant at making this point, very elegantly, that we want one person to be our everything.
Yeah.
We want the partner who's going to be a husband or a wife. We want a partner who's going to be our partner as a mother and a father. We want the family, we want the legacy, and we want erotic expression swinging from the chandeliers, and all with the same person. And you know what? Even that is not impossible to get. But my proposition is you're not going to find it within the husband-wife archetype. But what you can do is do a little role play, do a little bit of flexibility in your archetype pair, and at least for your eros, switch into dom and sub.
Hmm.
Come out of husband and wife into dominant and submissive. Even if you have no desire to build a dungeon and do this full time and be kinksters, just for
Yeah.
vanilla sex, just for your twice a week connection,
Hmm.
set an hour aside for each gathering, sensual gathering, but meet as dom and sub. And towards that, learn what it means to meet as dom and sub, learn what these two archetypes are. And that can truly infuse your eros with some new life. Trying to infuse eros between husband and wife, it really is like performing the wrong operation. It's like it feels clumsy and exhausting. I've
Yeah.
seen couples who have been assigned date night by their marriage counselor,
Mhm.
and they like dread the date night. And I think they're dreading it because it's like the great erotic connection was never a part of the husband and wife energetics.
Yes, but I think this brings up like this huge taboo topic that if we really look at the dynamics, at the erotic dynamic, at the heart of hot erotic dynamic
Yeah,
is a power dynamic. So there is an element of hierarchy in
yeah,
this, right? And I think we are also brainwashed by the concept of having to have an egalitarian relationship. But
yeah.
then when we take that concept of egalitarianism into the bedroom, it doesn't really work.
I would say again, I'm not even saying it can't work for anybody. There are 8 billion people on the planet,
Mhm.
and if your egalitarian dynamic works for you, you have found a way to infuse it with eros. God bless you. I'm not finding you wrong.
Mhm. Mhm.
Any way you can be happy, any way you can be peaceful, any way you can have a erotically thriving life, have it. You don't need to do it my way. You don't need to do it anybody else's way. If things are working, keep doing what you're doing. Having said that, I can tell you, oftentimes the complaint is that within the egalitarian dynamic, Eros fizzles out. The people who have thought for 30 years that men and women need to be in egalitarian dynamic, they are the ones saying Eros has gone away. So it's not like we are really imposing this on anybody.
Mhm.
People are coming in with their own frustrations. And I think there is a logic behind it, which is I think Eros does thrive on power dynamic. Eros does thrive on hierarchy. Eros thrives on the polarized energy of ravaging and being ravaged, taking and being taken. Somebody taking you on a ride and the other person surrendering and going on the ride. One person enjoying taking control of their partner and the other person enjoying giving up control. Eros really does thrive in this polarity, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So let's just put it this way. If egalitarian dynamic is not working for you erotically, you may want to consider a hierarchical dynamic. You may want to consider that let's try this. Up to you, entirely up to you. Your life is yours to live. So however it works for you. I'm kind of reporting what has worked for me. I'm reporting what I've seen work for many other people.
Mhm. Mhm. And what would be the promise of trying out like a consensual power dynamic? What's in
What?
it for the woman? Because I think this can be very confronting, right? I mean, for the
Yeah,
modern emancipated woman, like
yeah,
this idea of like, why would I submit to a man? Why would I, kneel down in front of any man, for
yeah.
example, in the dom sub
Yeah,
scenario?
so the only reason to do anything in a relationship or anywhere else in my opinion, in my philosophy, is out of self-interest.
Mm.
You're not going to submit to a man because of any, you should not submit to a man because of any ideology or any second reason. You do it because it is absolutely in your self-interest to do so. So let's take a very basic premise of hierarchy, which is the person lower in the hierarchy obeys the person higher in the hierarchy. Now, obey is a very big word,
Mhm.
right? Uh, so, but here's how you can see the parallels. When you hire a nutritionist and you pay them a lot of money because you need to change your diet and your health, do you do what they tell you to do?
Yes,
Yeah, you do.
unless I would sabotage myself in like
Unless you want to
unconscious way.
sabotage yourself, then
Yeah.
you're wasting your time and your money and the
Mhm.
nutritionist's time,
Absolutely.
right? But if you are trusting their mastery, that they know more about nutrition than you do, you pay them money to tell you what to eat and how to eat and when to eat. And if you actually want to get your money's worth, you do what they tell you to do.
Mhm.
In a healthy student-teacher dynamic, does the student do what the teacher tells them to do?
Mhm.
When you go to a martial arts studio and you pay them money to learn jujitsu, karate, judo, do you do what your sensei tells you to do?
Yeah,
Of course
absolutely.
you do.
Mhm.
So why do you obey there? How dare you obey? Oh my God, how can you obey your nutritionist? You shouldn't obey anybody. It's retarded.
Mhm.
We are obeying people all the time. We are paying people money to tell us what to do because we need their mastery. The logic here is absolutely identical. A submissive will obey their Dom, let's say even within a 15-minute scene, because doing so is fun for the submissive. Doing so is nourishing for the submissive in a way they can't nourish themselves. It is entirely out of self interest, it is not out of ideology. And it is not a categorical statement, every woman should obey every man. We are not really teaching ideology here. The
Mhm.
political response, why should a woman get down on her knees in front of a man? That is a political objection.
Mhm.
You're not even objecting to the right premise. Nobody said from now on every woman needs to submit to every man. That's what you heard. What we told you to do is in this scene, you're submissive. This person could be a woman, by the way. Your Dom could be a woman, doesn't even have to be a man. This is your Dom, and the way this game works is within these 10, 15 minutes, within your boundaries, you do what your Dom tells you to do. You obey them,
Mhm.
right? Do it once and see if you enjoy it. Do it once and see if you get something out of it. And if you don't get anything out of it, don't do it again. Everything is for your self interest.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is I think there is an element of devotion that arises within a well-functioning dom-sub dynamic
Right.
that I have never experienced in a quote-unquote egalitarian relationship like ever.
That
There's
is something, isn't it? I
there's a
mean,
depth in it. Yeah.
yeah. Devotion is not a word that people who have never really explored BDSM would ever think devotion is something that ever comes up in a hierarchical dynamic, in a power dynamic, in a Dom sub dynamic. But those of you who have done it know different. We know that there is tremendous heart space in it, that the devotion can come out in, you know, full tears, that it's not just about crazy kinkiness. But
Mhm.
I think unless you have touched those notes yourself, it's almost very difficult to even tell other people about it because they just don't get it. Like, what are you talking about? Devotion.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
tying each other up and spanking asses. Where
Yep.
the hell does devotion come in?
Yep.
And it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain unless people have had their own experiences and then they get it, right? And I can try and explaining it in tantric model. I believe there is a logic behind why devotion gets evoked. I very much subscribe to the chakra system,
Mhm.
right? I believe devotion is a central energy that lives in our heart. And I really do believe our energies rise from the base chakra up if and when they move properly. And BDSM is more brilliant at raising our sexual energy than people's average sex lives and sex skills. I think energies rise bigger and faster when you're doing BDSM well. And when that happens, the energies often reach the heart center. They may start in sex, they may start in the body somatically with rope tying, spanking, anything else. But if the energy moves and rises, it reaches the heart center. And when they reach the heart center, there is tremendous love, there is tremendous connection. And on the part of the submissive, they will very often touch this frequency of devotion within
Mm,
a scene.
mm.
And
Yeah,
it's
I think
really beautiful when that happens. This is not something we commonly talk about in BDSM. We talk about the sexy stuff usually.
yeah, but I think it's so much about this aspect of like, at least as a woman or as a submissive, for me, it's about feeling contained.
Yeah,
Really, like that. I think that's like the desire at the bottom of it. And if you look at most modern women, I think we are starved for containment.
yeah,
We are all so stressed out. We are all busy. We are exhausted from, also I think carrying so much in relationships and doing so much also of the emotional labor in
yeah,
relationships.
yeah,
But then we have this huge taboo around our submission. So we can never go to this place of subspace where we experience a sense of salvation and where we feel like we can really just melt open again
yeah,
because we deny ourselves access to it.
yeah. It is. It is a very, it's like a really conundrum I see women in that they deeply need containment and and the truth is men today are not very skilled at giving it. So I can also understand their frustration that oftentimes right in the moments when the women need containment themselves, they're actually pouring energy out and nourishing and holding other people. And then they get really burnt out. And then the sad thing is, even when containment is available, sometimes women are not ready to receive it. They're not trusting of it, right?
Mhm.
So there is that also happening. So uh, I was going to share an image came to mind. It's not a very flattering image, but I don't know. Do you have you ever anybody who has tried interacting with cats?
Mhm.
Sometimes you will find a stray cat who is looks very stressed,
Mhm.
scared,
Mhm.
right? And you're like, oh, I want to comfort that cat. And then you reach for it, but then the cat hisses at you,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, I'm trying to comfort you, I'm trying to hold you, I'm trying to pull you out so I can give you some food, but the cat just hunkers down and
Mhm.
hisses at you and
Mhm.
claws you if you reach for it. But you don't, but you can see the conundrum. The cat is already under stress, maybe it's been mistreated, it's in a defensive posture, and it doesn't recognize this person is not trying to hurt me. This person may actually be wanting to help me. And I sorry if that sounds an unflattering analogy, but I feel that's what it feels like. That you
Yeah.
come across women and women are very stressed.
Mhm.
And then oftentimes when you want to offer them containment, they push you back. So I'm like, you're really not helping yourself right here.
Mhm.
And it's like we are stuck in this distrust. And on top of that, there is women have been given the belief system that they should not need containment from men. They may not have this particular language, but you're supposed to be self-sufficient. So collapsing and being needy in the arms of a man, letting him hold you,
Mhm.
you may have really been taught, don't do that.
Yeah. Yes, and also just allowing yourself to be taken care of like a
Yeah,
little girl by
yeah,
your daddy, essentially. I
yeah,
think,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
think there are so many parallels also.
there are
And if
very
we
much.
are really honest, I think we yearn to be taken care of. Like,
Yeah,
like we used to be as little girls, and it fuels the
yeah.
eroticism of the relationship.
Yeah, it does. And you can see containment in good parent-child connection. I just love
Mm.
watching like small kids, babies sleep everywhere, but like a 3, 4, 5 year old, and they're completely collapsed on their parent's shoulder. And they could be in a supermarket, they could be in a noisy place. The kid is like mouth open, drooling on the shoulder. That's full containment.
Mhm.
That's what containment does. Full trust. I don't need any vigilance. I don't care if I'm being moved around. I don't care if there's noise all over the place. I'm good. I'm going to sleep. This person's got me. That's rest. That's trust between two people. I think women want that from their men. And that's a good place to be. That's a good place if the man can provide that for his woman. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about your upcoming retreat. So you're also hosting an amazing retreat in Austria in August,
I
where
am.
you
I'm,
teach
yes,
BDSM
I'm
principles and Dom Sub exploration.
right. Going to be there in a few weeks. We'll be teaching from August 5th through 11th in Oswald, Austria. It's about an hour outside of Vienna. This is my BDSM training. But so much of it is also really man-woman training because this is what I'm really passionate about. So I have slightly different agenda for men and women. I really want men, for one thing, to learn to give great containment. I want women to receive containment. I made a video recently on why women should come to my retreats, and one of that is actually just come receive containment, know what it feels like. So what you and I have just been talking about, so you can at least you might at least get over that glitch. You may actually know what it feels like, know that's this is okay to receive from a man, and then maybe even ask for it. So if you can at least open up this circuit between yourself as a woman and the men in your life, that yeah, I do want my men around me to give me containment. I'm ready to receive it. I think that alone can make women's lives a lot better. And then the rest of the workshop is a kind of a gentle exploration into BDSM principles and how you can bring it into your erotic life. The goal of my class is not to like create hardcore kinksters. So yes, it's a BDSM class, but to me, BDSM is always about creating better connection and eros between any two people. I'm not really invested in you should really go deep into all the BDSM nuances. If you can bring home a little bit of polarity, if you can bring home a little bit of containment and penetration between Dom and sub energy, and I think it can help, it can really infuse a lot of vibrancy in people's lives in the giving and receiving, give them more confidence as lovers. So yeah, very excited about that. I've had really good results with that class. You can come alone, you can come as a couple.
Yeah, and you also teach BDSM exploration through the lens of the seven chakras. So can
I
you
do.
also talk about that concept because I find it truly fascinating. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I really, my brain works when thinking about these things. It organizes things along the seven chakras, and you don't really have to believe in the chakras. This is just my way of organizing material. So to me, BDSM play really seems to fall into these different, mainly the first three chakras mainly. Beyond that, things are in a way softer and easier. So at the first chakra, I would put the body, the somatics. And in there comes everything that has to do with somatics, which includes containment, includes bondage rope play, which is very a soft and gentle entry point into BDSM, and it's very sensual.
mm,
And it is highly recommended because, for one thing, it is really great at creating containment. Right? Rope is one element of BDSM play that creates containment. Everything else kind of is a stimulating, penetrative element. So, whatever is happening at the body level, whether it's learning to do a little fun spanking, whether it's learning to do some impact play, bondage, all of those things where we directly try to impact the body, I would put at the first chakra, somatic level. At the second chakra is our sex, our arousal. And BDSM is really brilliant at approaching arousal from every single way it can find, right? Directly through stimulation and also all the psychological factors for raising the sexual energy. So that's fun. That's the main reason people usually seek out BDSM because they want to add a little spice to their erotic life. Nothing wrong with that. At the third center, I put our esteem center, our identity, right? And bulk of the what we consider psychological play in BDSM lives at the third center. These are the little bit of darker, kinkier psychological head fucking energies. Humiliation play, objectification play, degradation play, right?
mm,
They kind of all live where these kinds of scene play, they play with people's identity, they play with their self-concepts, they play with their sense of worthiness. And BDSM, I recommend to people they don't do it as therapy, but amazing amount of catharsis and healing tends to happen when people do third chakra play because we are so stuck in our own negative narratives, in our own imposter syndromes, in our own burdens of identity, that if you go in there and with a good dom and shake things up, it can really provide liberation to people.
Can
Right.
you maybe give us an example of how that would look like in a scene?
Well, I can tell you how I do it in my class as a simple exercise. So humiliation play is, believe it or not, kind of the lighter version of one of the lighter. Degradation play can go a lot deeper and heavier. Humiliation play, you try to ask the submissive if they want to explore an area where they have some shame and embarrassment, something they keep hidden, or one particular belief they have about themselves that they think makes them unlovable. Could be something as simple as I'm too fat. No one's going to go for me. Body issues are big regarding our self worth, regarding our sense of will anybody love me? Am I worthy of love? And this is a doubt you've been carrying within yourself, and it really gets in the way when you interact with people. It gets in the way even when people do try to love you. Part of you is like, how can you love me? I'm not attractive enough to be loved. And in humiliation play, we sometimes simply turn into the fire. We externalize the narrative. So the simplest way, one of the simplest way you could do this scene, I would do it scene because I encourage people to be completely lazy doms. I would simply have my submissive repeat their own belief out loud. I might strip them down. I might stand them in front of a mirror. And I'm saying, look at yourself and repeat your belief. And they would say, I'm too fat to be loved. Because that's the core of the belief. And as a dom, as a teacher, you help them refine their prompt so that it's clear. And stand there, look at themselves, and repeat that belief over and over. And that's the scene. Now you say, well, what good is that? That sounds really painful. Maybe, but it is also externalizing something that they usually keep hidden. They're externalizing something that they try to avoid believing. And by doing that, oftentimes people realize, man, this belief isn't even true. Or like, even if it's true, what's the big deal? So I'm fat. I've still had lovers. Obviously, people still like me. So you see the ridiculousness because when these things are inside our skull, we take them very seriously. They're absolute truths when they're our secrets. When you put them out on loudspeaker and you hear yourself say them or you have somebody else say it to you, like, yeah, you're way too fat, no woman's ever going to go for you. And you hear that over and over, it creates movement in the system. Oftentimes it creates catharsis, it creates looseness, right? Over and over. So it may seem crazy. It's a kind of form of exposure therapy in a way, but oftentimes psychological play can really dislodge all these tight spaces in our system. And it can be great. And then the surprise thing is, oftentimes when that energy gets loosened, it becomes eroticized.
Yeah, it does.
Now somebody gets off on saying, you fucking fat fuck, look at you. And that gives you a hard on. Also, why? Because somebody is seeing you where you were trying to hide yourself. And that's actually nice. Somebody is wholeheartedly even accepting you where you find yourself unacceptable, right? And that can be actually a very loving gesture to dispel somebody's negative beliefs about themselves. So, yeah, this surprising thing often happens that the thing that we are most afraid somebody's going to say to us, we end up eroticizing them. Women may be afraid somebody is going to call them XYZ, and then, like, during sex, they like, call me XYZ because it's hot. There's a reclamation that can happen of the negative narrative. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful. And then when we go further up and we reach
I
to
would say
heart
when you go
center.
further up to the heart center, that's where you go into devotion.
Mhm.
That's where people do worship scenes between Dom and Sub. That's where you really come into your heart energies. That's where you should provide service from if you're going to do service for your Dom, from a place of devotion. And that can be really quite lovely. Devotion is not an easy energy to rise up between human beings. At best, we offer devotion to the divine, which is also a good practice. But it's easier to kneel down in a church or a temple and offer love and gratitude to God, which I believe we should do very much so.
Mhm.
But it's easier because of God's perfection and God's elevation, right? With a human being, I think it's actually almost it's a higher level of practice
Mhm.
to be able to offer devotion to a human being. And you don't have to live in it 24/7. I wouldn't recommend trying to live in devotion. But I think even if you can do a short ritual of devotion towards somebody, that can be extraordinary for both people.
Mhm.
Yeah. It takes a lot to be at the receiving end of that devotion too. I've had
Mhm.
almost comical cases where women have come into my class to learn submission, and I give them rituals of surrendering and offering devotion to the divine, whatever divine they believe in. I don't really care. I'm like, whatever higher power you believe in, set up a ritual of devotion towards that higher power so you know what the energy feels like. Now, sometimes a woman would say, okay, I loved doing the ritual towards God, our Mother Earth, and I wanted to actually bring it to my husband. And some of them did, and the husbands really freaked out.
Mhm.
the,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
husbands were not able to really receive it. They're like, what are you doing? Right? Because receiving that energy takes a little stamina,
Mhm.
right? So it's kind of telling. It's a big energy to
Mhm.
offer and to receive. But it's beautiful when it does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
What
And
else?
so for the woman who may may feel a pull towards things that we are talking about, but
Yeah.
who are still in doubt or scared to try it out, or who maybe also are intimidated by, the practices. Like, for example, I'm afraid to get tied up, or I don't want to be spanked, or whatever. What would you say to them?
What would I say to them?
Mhm.
It would be a generic piece of advice, which would be, I don't know, try new things, dip your toes in them. You don't have to bet the whole house on it or anything, but try new things in life because uh, whatever change you may be trying to create, whatever improvement you may be trying to create in your relationship, in your eros, if what you've been trying already hasn't worked, try something new.
Mhm.
Really, you should take a class with a sense of adventure and exploration. And afterwards, keep what you like and toss the rest. I'm not invested in you like following some complete ideology or curriculum or anything. I offer people a whole bunch of choices and experiences, and rest is up to you. I don't really care. Keep what works for you and do more of it and improve your life. Learn some new things from other people. I don't know how else to improve things except to have that little sense of adventure and openness. That's really the invitation. Come try some new things. Come
Mhm.
try some new thing. It's a week. It's an adventure. It's a fun undertaking. It's not dentist appointment.
Perfect.
And you
Yes.
know what?
Yeah.
Regarding like, oh, I don't know if I can do this or it'll be too much for me. That again, that's each person for them to figure it out for themselves. But I think generally, I would say, and again, truth to here's actually where we are a bit chauvinistic, and even I can get that way, and not in a good way, which is I would never grant this cover to a man. If a man were to tell me, I'm too nervous to come take your BDS, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're afraid to come to my class. You're afraid to take a fucking workshop. We'd
Mhm.
laugh at the man. Like, no, grow a fucking pair of balls. There are more dangerous things in life. than coming to a BDSM workshop. What the fuck is wrong with you? Take it, not take it. You shouldn't be afraid of it. What the fuck is that? But we grant this bullshit to women all the time. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh well, you're just too fragile. Maybe you're just too fragile to have a rope scene. Maybe you're just too fragile to experience spanking. And you know what? If you want that fragility, you can keep it. I'm not impressed by it. I'm not impressed by women's fragility, and I believe most of the time it's just a clever way of holding yourself back. I don't think you're as fragile. I think we're all killers. You're built here to plop babies from between your legs and bring them into the world. So I don't think you're all that goddamn fragile. So all this call for I need safety and extra safety and extra safety, I'm like, you know what? Up to you. Where's your sense of adventure? Right? So I'm like, try things. That's how we change things in life. That's how we learn things. We take some leaps. We scrape our knee once in a while. Big deal. We know we used to be less scared as kids than we are as adults. We used to just take leaps off of places, and our parents would look at us and get a heart attack. Like, what the hell are you doing? Anyway, so have a sense of adventure. It'll also keep you young. You want to know why you're so bored in your dynamic? You never try anything new. That's why. And here's the other thing. You're trying to improve your erotic life. Guess what? Eros really thrives on novelty. Right? So if you have resistance to trying anything new, again, you're shooting yourself in the foot as far as really creating an erotically thriving life. Because Eros loves new ass energy. Eros loves new experiences. Eros loves new sensations. Right? It
Yeah, and
does. It
even
thrives on it.
dangerousness. I
It
mean,
loves
let's
dangerousness.
admit
Exactly.
it. Yeah,
Eros
I mean,
loves
there's all this
dangerousness.
emphasis on, like feeling safe, but you know what? Sometimes it's really hot when you can be a little
It
bit
is.
afraid.
Exactly.
It's super hot
Exactly.
and it makes you come alive from the inside out. So yeah,
It does,
maybe
and I've
really
known I've
fine.
known women who are like compulsive readers of romance novels, and I'm like, these books you're reading are filled with women being taken out of control. They're filled with women being plunged into scenarios that are completely outside their comfort zone. They are filled with danger. So you're getting it vicariously through your heroines. Up to you. Up to you if that's the only way you want to get it.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Om, for your time and for
Absolutely.
sharing all of your wisdom with us. I will put the link to the registration for your retreat into the
Wonderful.
show notes.
Appreciate
And
that.
I highly encourage anybody who feels a sense of curiosity or who feels a draw to this kind of work to give it a try and check it out. Thank you so much
Wonderful.
for
Thank
being
you
my
so
guest
much.
today.